There are a heap of different colours you can get with Coturnix quail. There are at least more than 30 and they keep developing more. I have a handful. I like having different colours because I like looking in the cage and seeing different things. I just find it's more interesting, and you can identify different birds that way, and some of them you can feather sex as well. Some different colours are actually larger in size and produce larger eggs, so that's something to consider. And from a market perspective, if you're selling birds, I've found that having a colour variety is more beneficial. It creates more demand. That's what people want. So I'm just going to show you my different types of quail, colours I should say. This bird here is a golden Manchurian. You can see that coloration, very beautiful, quite like these ones. This bird here is mostly white, but it has a lot of the brown natural colours on the back. That is called a panda. I quite like these birds. I like the contrast. You do get ones that are all white apart from a little spot up here and maybe a tiny spot here. Those ones are called English white, or they're starting to drop the white from it because it's redundant. So the full white ones are called English, but this one is a panda. This one is a Rosetta. Beautiful feathering on this. The way I tell these, because there is another one called a Tibetan. The Tibetan is much more chocolate-like, darker. I don't have any Tibetans right now, but the Rosetta, I always look at these little bands on them. That's how I identify them, because I say that they're like rose gold, like Rosetta. Whereas the Tibetan, which I don't have, is much darker and chocolatey. But that is really one of my favourites. And here we have an Italian. Striking colours, these birds. I quite like these too. This bird would actually be your normal Rosetta. You can see that band with dark colours. But you can look at the chest. You can see from the chest it's actually what we call a tuxedo. So they have a white in the chest. It's like they're wearing a tux. She's not very happy. You get a few different types that have this tuxedo pattern. It's a striking sort of combination you do get. This bird here is known as a wild. Some people call them pharaohs because of the markings on the face, which look like the Egyptian pharaohs, and some people call them commons or brown. I don't really like the use of the term brown because there are many other brown colours, so it's kind of confusing. And common is, well, they're a bit more special than common because they actually are the largest of the colour varieties. So I think the wild, being that's native state, is the one that I've gone with, so I quite like that. So yeah, they do grow the biggest, and they do have the biggest eggs. So that's something if you want to actually, once you deviate away from the wild state and you start going into the fancier colours, you tend to drop in size. Not always, but you tend to, and your eggs tend to get smaller. And that's it. That's the colour varieties I have right now. I'm going to keep an eye out always to get some more. Just so you're aware, they are the same species, Coturnix quail, they're just different varieties. And sometimes when you cross one with another, you will get a spliced type, something that's in between. But not always. Birds are a bit strange like that. Sometimes you'll get them like the mother or the father or the grandparents. So you never really know.